And when we came down here to Alabama, basically I was like, we've been missing out our entire lives. There's nothing like sunshine and that southern hospitality. Hey guys, welcome to our channel, or welcome back to our channel. We are your real estate fam, and we post informational videos every single weekend about Lower Alabama. So today we're going to be discussing some of the major pros and cons of living in Lower Alabama, especially the Mobile and Baldwin County areas. So if you're thinking about moving to Lower Alabama, this video is made just for you.
I'm Tony, and this is my partner Jess. If you're new to our channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you tap that little bell so you're notified each and every time we drop a new video. We make new videos every single week, and it gives you an idea about what it's like to live in Lower Alabama. And we're also licensed realtors, which means as much as we like making these videos, we like to help you just a little bit more with your real estate needs.
So that number that's popping up below, we're the ones who actually answer the calls, text messages, and those emails. So if there's something we can do to help you, we would love to. But without further ado, let's dive into the pros and cons of living in Lower Alabama. We're covering everything from the cost of living to the weather and a lot of stuff in between. So stick with us to the end because you may just discover some hopefully helpful facts.
First, we're going to talk about the cost of living in Mobile and the Eastern Shore, which is probably the first thing you're going to consider before you move down here. People are usually concerned about the housing prices and property taxes, and I'll get to that. But first, let's talk about a very, very hot topic across the country. People are being impacted by these insanely high prices for gas, and it's hitting people hard right in their pocketbooks.
That's true, Tony. Gas prices are a big deal and they add up really quick. The last thing anyone wants to do is move somewhere where gas prices are through the roof, especially if you drive a lot for work and are filling up weekly.
100% agree, and it's a good thing that Lower Alabama has relatively cheap gas, and as of April of 2022, the gas prices are going to range depending on where you go, but I can tell you personally that we have some of the lowest prices in the country, so that's definitely a perk right there.
All right, moving on, let's get to the good stuff, home prices. So they can vary, but let me drop some averages. If you're looking in Orange Beach or Gulf Shores, we've had clients pay anywhere from $600,000 to well over $1 million for these gorgeous homes that are near or on the Gulf of Mexico. Some of these houses are situated right on the sandy beaches with views of the Gulf that will literally blow your mind. It's just breathtaking.
Yeah, but we've also had clients in Mobile or the Eastern Shore pay a little less, end up with some very nice properties next to the bay or close to it. You're looking at the 250 to 550 range. You're gonna have some good square footage, close to everything you need. If you choose to live here or being on the Gulf Coast, you can't go wrong with either. Mobile's downtown area also has some of the best restaurants like Dumbwaiter's, a favorite of mine. Jessica's is Noble South. There's the Singer Theater and just lots of boutiques in general and bars to choose from. Not to mention, if you go on the Causeway, there's restaurants galore right there, and then you have the mall that's right next to it, everything on the Eastern Shore, so there's just so much to look forward to.
Okay, so one of the cons of living in Lower Alabama is that the cities are not very walkable and you can't really rely on public transportation or taxis. So if you're planning to move to Lower Alabama, you're gonna wanna bring a car. Coming to Alabama from a walkable city like Chicago, we figured out pretty quickly that having a car was an absolute must.
Yeah, it's not like you can compare the two. So we're not saying that there's no public transportation at all. Mobile does have buses. It's just that you can't expect the bus to go where you want it to all the time, or if it is on time, it might not be where you want to go. So public transportation in Lower Alabama is just probably not your best bet.
I loathe the bus.
So yeah, public transportation is not really big like it is in New York or Chicago, and really that's why I like it so much. There's definitely this like calmer pace to life, and it's one of the biggest reasons why we love it down here. When we lived up north, it was always go, 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 and that pace of life can just really stress you out and wear you down. We lived it, and we don't miss it at all. And when we came down here to Alabama, basically I was like, we've been missing out our entire lives. There's nothing like sunshine and that southern hospitality.
And that southern food. So
Yeah.
if you're missing out on that sunshine and that warm weather, which brings me to another con of living in Lower Alabama, well, for some people at least, not for me, let's talk about the heat. If you're planning to move here, you can expect the temperature to go above 85 degrees several months out of the year, like July through September. It's not an ideal weather condition for a lot of people. It's good enough because it does get cold, but the highest part of this, the heat can really get you in the summer. So thank God we have air conditioning, and we have a lot of water, a lot of beaches, so you can stay cool. You got Mobile Bay right there. Coming from Chicago, we had polar vortexes. The warm weather never gets old, and I have a deep, deep appreciation for all of it, and I can't stress it enough. But if you dress appropriately and make sure your AC works and you drink plenty of water, you'll be just fine.
Yeah, and living here, people spend a lot of time in the beaches, the bay, and the rivers, and there's honestly no better way to spend your summer. But if you don't like swimming that much, you may have a problem surviving the heat of Lower Alabama.
You don't have to necessarily swim. All you have to do is get in and cool off.
Right, but we love to cool off in the Gulf, so that actually leads me to another perk, which is the weather. Tony did say that the heat can be insane here between July and September, and that's true, but the weather does stay beautiful the rest of the year. You will have a lot of sunshine and cool breezes. The biggest thing I like about living in Lower Alabama is that the weather isn't too extreme besides those summer months. But you know what to expect, so people that move down here from the north are actually really grateful because it doesn't usually snow here. Maybe once in a blue moon we see some flurries and everything shuts down. The schools, businesses, all stores, it's just crazy, and all for snow that doesn't even accumulate. So I mean, for me, that's definitely a pro. I don't miss shoveling, slipping on ice, driving in horrible conditions, and oh my gosh, the winter clothes. Going out in the winter was such a huge production up north. I had to bundle everyone up with winter boots, scarves, gloves, sweaters every single year for like 8 to 9 months out of the year. I do not miss.
What is it?
I can't put my arms out.
I don't miss it, but that's exactly it. People are coming from the north and they complain how much they hate the snow. You have less mobility that time of the year, and you get what they call seasonal depression, and you're just waiting for the sun to come back out, which can get very irritating after a while. So Lower Alabama really is an ideal place to live if you're looking to get away from that cold and you just want some peaceful living. But like Jess said, it can snow. I remember this one time it snowed in Daphne, and I was so excited because I didn't have to shovel. It was the greatest thing because snow came, but it didn't stick, and that's just something that I really, really enjoyed, and just watching everything shut down.
Okay, so let's talk about traffic conditions here. I would say a pro of living in Lower Alabama is that traffic isn't horrible. So say you're coming from Mobile across the bay and heading down to the Gulf. You will have access, you will have to cross the bay via the Bayway or the Causeway. These are two different bridges that cross the Mobile Bay. The views are amazing, and the sun literally sparkles off the water and makes traveling so pleasant. Sometimes these roads can get backed up due to an accident, and you basically just sit there until it's cleared up. But these interruptions don't last very long. They can add like 20 minutes to your trip. In New York, LA, or Chicago, you can tack on an extra hour due to an accident or simply because of heavy traffic. So in my opinion, this is nothing compared to what other
Unless
states
the car
experience.
goes off of the bridge, which I've seen. But traffic can be a mood killer because of that. You're cruising, you get to enjoy the beautiful views of the bay, or my favorite is the sunrise overlooking the bay. It's just so nice. Then you end up on I-10 either way and go down south until you reach the beach. I think that's what driving all the traffic around here is mainly about, is the beaches and the schools and the infrastructure. There's movies being filmed here in the summer, which makes people aware of the town's charm. I'm seeing more and more people wanting to move to LA because of the beaches and the weather. There are also more schools being built in Mobile and Baldwin County to accommodate all the people moving in and all their families coming to live here. All this is a contributing factor to traffic, so it doesn't compare to some of the nation's bigger cities, so it doesn't bother me at all, but it is a contributing factor for sure.
Agreed. Traffic is pretty pleasant around here. I'd say another thing adding to more traffic is the construction of those new neighborhoods, which may be a con to some of you because you will see a lot of buildings and road construction because people are literally flocking here. They vacation here and they discover all of these charming towns in Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, and they fall in love with the sun and that southern hospitality and the really great school systems. It's a hidden gem. Tony and I moved here not once but twice, and we are here to stay. So we see it as being pretty common nowadays. So with all of us transplants and moving in, you can imagine the need for housing. You will see new neighborhood signs all over. We drive a lot through LA, so we know that there's a lot of construction going on to accommodate this growing population.
So with all that being said, moving on to another pro about living in Lower Alabama is my favorite personally is the seafood. So since we're surrounded by the Gulf, you get the freshest tasting seafood in almost every single restaurant. Not only that, but restaurant owners have their own boats and fishermen, so it's caught daily and you can't beat it. If you like seafood or quick fishing or crabbing, you'll have access to the bay from the causeway, or you can catch them yourself going into the rivers and creeks. You get fresh oysters, fish, crab. You can go to any of the restaurants on one of the causeway and have a great meal. My favorite is the bluegill. I know Jess's is Felix's, and they're right there on the bay, right at your disposal.
On the subject of food, I have to say that fried chicken is better in the South. I'm not kidding you guys. When I first ate at Champy's Chicken, I realized I've been missing out my entire life. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. No joke, this fried chicken was incredible. I legit wanted to move to Lower Alabama just so I can eat at Champy's like once a week. So definitely keep that in the back of your head if you guys are planning on moving down here. Okay, so the final con for this video is that we have hurricanes and occasional storms in Lower Alabama, but it's part of living in the South. A rainfall can be a daily occupancy, but it is short-lived and it basically just waters everything and then the sun comes and dries everything up. But those showers can be torrential downpours and wind and lightning too, but they do clear up pretty fast. Okay, moving along, definitely look into getting hurricane coverage on your regular insurance if you are planning to move down to Lower Alabama. Depending on where you live in the area, you may also need flood coverage.
Another pro I want to mention is the wildlife and the nature all around us. So you're gonna see some white-tailed deer, gators, lizards, sharks, jellyfish, and tons of oak trees when you go to pretty much anywhere. Downtown Mobile, West Mobile, Midtown. These majestic freaking trees are huge, and people drive through the area just to see them for the first time because they're just struck by the amount of oak trees we see in Mobile. I mean, it really is amazing, but chances are if you have a yard, you're gonna have an oak tree. But I mean, you can also have palm trees. So it's just like you get best of both worlds there. There are also a ton of parks and lots of green spaces in general. And since we have amazing weather most of the year, you can spend the entire time outside enjoying it.
So that wraps up some of our pros and cons about living in Lower Alabama. It's a beautiful place to call home with great weather, the Gulf of Mexico right at your disposal, delicious food, and a reasonable cost of living.
Very reasonable.
I think all the pros definitely outweigh the cons, and if you do too and are ready to make the move, give us a call. If you have any questions at all, we're happy to help you guys.
And that's right, we're licensed realtors here right in the state of Alabama, and as much as we love making these videos and giving you guys the rundown, we love to help you with your real estate needs even more. So we're the ones who are answering the phones and those text messages and emails. So if there's anything that we can do to help y'all, we love to. So just make sure you reach out. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later.
See you guys later.